Persona 3 Reload. I personally have been waiting for this to hit one of the Nintendo consoles for some time, and it finally hit Switch too. So let's just roll the intro. Let's get into this. So what do we think of Persona 3 Reload? Well, for those who don't know, Persona 3 has been around for some time. Had a couple of different versions, the Persona 3 Portable, which is also available on Nintendo Switch. Now, Persona 3 Reload, which is a grand old updated version of Persona 3. New aesthetics, new gameplay, new.
What the? New look?
It looks good. It plays very, very well. Frame rate's a little low. As you notice, the Switch version only has 30 frames per second, which in my opinion is not bad. During my gameplay time, I did not notice any stutters, no drop in frames, nothing like that. Everything played pretty smoothly, but it is noticeable when you go from something 60 frames per second to 30 frames per second. So, and not game breaking by any means, but you know.
I'm just being a snob.
Now, for those who do not know Persona 3 Reload, there's a couple things that you need to know. Let's go into the story a little bit. You transfer to this new high school, and it turns out that there is an extra hour between today and tomorrow that is called the Dark Hour, when everyone is sort of locked up in a coffin, except you and a few others that are not, that can summon personas and can go and beat up some bad guys, aka shadows. So your job as a Persona user is to hunt down the shadows, take them out. In the process, you end up finding this giant tower called Tartarus.
There's a little bee coming out of me right now.
Which is a massive, endless labyrinth. And your job is to go floor by floor and clear it out. And also figure out what is going on with the Dark Hour. Why is it here? What do we do about it? How do we fix it? There's a lot to take in, but overall, story-wise, it's pretty Persona. Getting into the characters, we have a couple really, really interesting ones right from the get-go. And one thing I like about Persona 3 Reload here is that we're not dragging out the character introductions. We are thrown straight in. Well, we get to meet about 5 characters on the squad right off the bat. And 2 of them are not playable just yet, at least through the first little bit of the dungeon. You meet a couple of characters that are very colorful. As you get introduced to more characters, there's this little thing called Social Link that you use to gain better and stronger personas as you go on. You fuse personas, so you get stronger personas, and if you fuse for a persona that has a specific type that matches with a Social Link with a higher rank, that persona is going to come out beefy, and it's awesome. One thing to focus on in personas is the personal relationships between people, and that's kind of the big focus on Persona in general, is that personal relationship between people, which I think is awesome. A couple other things, there's life sim, obviously. Like I said, the Social Link, you get to know other people in the game, you build relationships with them, and you get stronger because of those relationships as you go into Tartarus and level up your character as far as the combat side. Combat is turn-based. You either attack with your own weapon or you pull out your persona and use whatever skills your persona has. Sometimes those skills use your health points, sometimes they use basically your match. So sometimes sort of let's weigh the options here, what's going to be the best means. If you can attack enemies and knock them down with a weakness of theirs, then you get a pretty good advantage. If you knock them all down, then you can use an all-out attack, which in most cases will wipe out all enemies. Unless you're in a boss fight, then it'll just deal a very hefty amount of damage. Now, my overall opinion on Persona 3, thus far anyway, honestly, it's a pretty good game, but there is so much dialogue. Like, there's so much talking. So much talking. And more talking, and there's more talking, and then we get some gameplay, and then there's more talking. You get it. There's lots and lots of talking, at least at the get-go. But then when things start moving into Tartarus, then you have a little bit more free time, and you can actually kind of choose what you want to do. Now the game opens up, and there's still lots of talking, but not as much as there was initially. And that is one thing that I have noted from other creators, that this game is a little bit of a slow burn at first. It takes a couple of hours to kind of get into the meat. And once you get there, it's a fun game. You have to build up certain stats in order to engage in certain activities to build up more stats, or to say certain things to certain characters, like courage, charm, and your knowledge. As far as, I'm sorry, does that say plane? What do you mean plane? What the so anyway, what I'm trying to say here is you got to build those up, and you got to get good. And once you build them up, then you can do more things. And your character just looks awesome in the social aspect. Now that we've got all that out of the way, let me go ahead and just kind of sum up. Gameplay-wise, I actually have very much enjoyed my time with it so far. It is a slow burn to get into it at first, but that's kind of the typical case when it comes to Persona games. It takes a minute to get through all the dialogue, all the setup, and then once you get into the meat of it, it's still a slow burn, but not as bad as it is initially. But it's worth sticking around. Every Persona game has been a blast for me so far. This is no different. Once we get through that slow burn, it's a really good game. There's just a lot that you have to jumble in a Persona game, from the social links, the live sims, the Persona fusions. But once you kind of get the groove of it, once you get into your own little rhythm, you do your social links, you do your fusions, you go into Tartarus and you go through the labyrinth, and then start things up the next day, and you just continue through the story, and it sort of becomes, I wouldn't say a cozy experience, I would just say a relaxing experience, because it's easy to wrap your head around once you know how to do it. So from my perspective, this is probably the best version of Persona 3. Is it the best version of Persona 3 Reload? I don't know, but in my personal opinion, it's on a portable console. It can't be that bad. So with all that said and done, I hope you enjoyed the episode today. It was a pretty quick one. I just wanted to sum up some first impressions here. And hopefully I'll have a more thorough and well-written review later. Like, sub, share with a friend, that kind of thing. And we'll see you next time.